CVS Pharmacy refused to give me my medication, even though they said that that they had ordered it, and it would arrive already from it being a few days late, about a week late. So it took, and then when I went to go pick it up, they said that they didn't have any more medication. And then they only had 20 left. And I was like, well, I need some medication. It's Friday. Monday is not, I won't be able to talk to the doctor till Monday. And they said they refused to give me even that much. And I asked why. And they said, because we're just not comfortable giving it to you. And I'm like, what do you mean? I have solid documentation over my condition. I have it right here. And they said, no, I don't even want to look at it. And they had a few months to speak to my doctors. They did have documentation in the beginning. And then they acted as if they never got any information on my health, and then flat out rejected me. And I ended up suffering from traumatic emotional stress, which turned into neurological, and then the pain was exasperated over it due to my condition. And I couldn't walk my dog. I couldn't cook. I couldn't eat. I couldn't do much of anything because my medication, which is an opioid, helps me day-to-day living. And instead of doing their job by looking up my information, speaking to the doctors, they didn't do any of that at all, and then refused to give me what was left because I had agreed to relinquish the rest so we can do it with my doctors, because it was the weekend and I was already way past the date of fill. About a week and a half passed, and they still refused to give it to me because no reason, because of whatever they wanted to do, and it made me suffer, and I was in a lot of pain. I'll have to move back a little. I arrived from New York in June or July of last year. And my prescription was due. So I had my pain management doctors from New York. Forgive me, I have neurological, so sometimes it's hard for me to speak. They put into prescription, and when I called to ask for it, so mind you, my prescriptions are 120 a month. I take 5 milligrams. I'm sorry, they're 125 milligrams, but I take 2 at a time. So it's 10 milligrams twice a day. I have, I have a parasympathetic system shutdown, traumatic brain damage from severe concussion, and multiple spinal injuries with stenosis in my cervical, thoracic, and lumbar. I'm bone on bone in my lumbar area, and I'm arthritic. They called it fibromyalgia, was the overall pain. But throughout, when I arrived here, I went to find a specialist doctor who figured out that it was coming from my brain and not specifically only my spinal injuries. And both sides of my hemispheres are broken. It's basically my nervous system, my central nervous system is completely shot. And I feel pain at a higher percentage than normal people, like 75% higher, roughly, because of the research and what they say, on average, it's 75%. So for me, the pills are very, are important because I can barely move. Like in the mornings, getting up just to go to the bathroom is, when I mean excruciating, it's excruciating. Using the bathroom, if you know what I mean, is excruciating, like because of the nerve damage. So I've been dealing I've been dealing with this problem for 5 years. I've had ablation, which is they go in and they burn your nerves off. I've had all kinds of shots. They wanted to put metal. They wanted to do surgery in my lower, and the what's going on in my neck is so intricate that they're scared to even go in because they're worried that I won't be able to swallow, because my fifth vertebra is in my esophagus. So at times I even choke, depending. I have to like chew my food really slow, like a lot, and make sure there's a lot of fluid. But with any highly stressful situation, because it's my nervous system, anything stressful exasperates my problems. And then it's very like, see this hand right here? This is like, I don't know if you can see it, but this is a constant shake. But it comes from my neurological system and the injuries that are in my thoracic and cervical area. Okay, so going back to CVS, when the first thing that they said to me when I called in for my prescription, sorry, the stress, even the stress of it talking just gets me. Ugh. So the first thing that was said was, "Oh my God, why so many pills?" See, you see? Okay, that's not normal, right? Okay, so I was like taken aback by that. And I was like, well, what do you mean? I mean, that's my medication. I have to take it monthly. It's a chronic condition. And he was like, no, like, we're not going to give you these pills. I was like, whoa. And then, to shorten it, I ended up not being able to, they ended up talking to the doctor in New York or whatever, but they refused to give me my full amount. And then because of the date, my insurance lapsed. So therefore I couldn't get anything after that. So then I had to go to and then the pain management doctors in New York, since it lapsed, whatever, they were no longer my doctors, and they're extremely strict. So they were like, they cut me off completely. So I was like, and I'm like, oh my God. And I just made this trip. So the pain in my body was so bad. And then I lost control of my legs from the added stress. I wake up, and then at this stage though, I don't know yet that it's my brain, because the person, sorry, it's too much. I have to calm down. Oh, I lost control of my legs, fell, and then of course with that, anyways, point is, fast forward, I find a new doctor, and he's the one who told me that it's my parasympathetic system. It's not, because I had no balance, like my balance was off. Like at this point, from the added stress of what's CV, and that time, mind you, the move and all that, and CVS, and then me, because I was trying to search for new doctors to figure it out, because I was getting worse. And they kept saying it was just my spine, and I knew that it was something more. So then this guy, I'm in brain rehab now. I've been in there for 7 months. Yeah, just about. And I go there twice a week. And instead of doing surgery, this rehab, it's called NeuroSage. It's practically brand new. Only 100 doctors in the United States even use this. And this doctor, he's one of the doctors for the Miami Heat. Like, they top notch. And he's been I was so bad, and the pain, everything. he's actually doing it for hardship, like a hard. So I pay very little for, but also I'm a test dummy basically for this new technology, and we've been recording it. So there's recording of that, and he didn't understand why the pharmacy would behave in that manner. But I ended up getting new doctors, whatever, and I went back to CVS. They're only a couple blocks from me. They're the closest pharmacy to me, and which is important because I can't function very well out there sometimes, like it's hard for me to walk for long periods. It's getting a little better through this rehab, but at the time specifically, it was very, very hard for me to stand, sit, lay, walk for more than 10 minutes, and then I would have to sit. I do have a car, so for me, I don't drive long distances because not that I can't drive, but it's, I try not to, for God forbid something happens with my neurological condition. But so far so good. And with the pain pills, I'm able to hold the steering wheel. Like the pain pills help me with strength, and obviously pain. And I have a high tolerance, so oxycodone is not one of those pills that affects me, like, and I don't drink on it or anything. I just take them, and it helps me move about and do what I have to do. And I also take a Neurontin, gabapentin, but I don't really do that because, to be honest, that stuff makes me really dizzy. So I do CBD gummies, and that helps me with the nervous system, pain. And so the combination of the oxycodone and that, whatever, So the first problem was what I told you. They gave me hell for the amount of pills, whatever. And I'm like, I have backup. They got the backup that they needed. And they were like, okay. But then 2 months after that, like the following month, they were like, they were kind of like funny about it, just saying, I pick up through drive-through, and they were like, so you're still taking these? And I'm like, yes, it's my medication. And following month, no problem. Following month, and then I decide to go in this day, and I'm walking in, and one of the pharmacists, a male, says to me, like, there was a customer behind me, and I'm picking up my pills. He goes, so you've had to pick these up a couple of times. I said, yes. And then he said, well, I suggest you talk to your doctor, and y'all better figure out something else better to do, because we're not comfortable giving you these pills. I was like, why? I was like, that's really, okay, I'm sorry, that's inappropriate. You don't know what's going on with me. Like, but as a matter of fact, you should know what's going on with me because you've got the paperwork. Like, this is inappropriate for you to be telling me this. Like, you're not my doctor. And I'm really sensitive to it because I suffer from severe depression over this. And I've been working my butt off from doctors to doctors, shot to shot, therapy to therapy, state to state. And you're telling me my doctors better figure out something else to do. That bothered me. And I said it just like, as I'm speaking to you, I said, no, this is not right. You guys harass me every month. Like, it's been almost every month that you guys harass me about this. And then he said, exactly. You've had it for too long. I was like, no, whoa. And then I guess my voice began to raise because I struggle with, because of the neurological thing, I struggle with staying calm. I wasn't yelling or screaming because that too shuts me down. But as you can see, I can't even hardly have a conversation without having to pause. So he keeps quiet, and I was like, do you not have that information? the paperwork. He stays quiet. I said, I'm asking you a question. He doesn't really respond to me. And I said, could you please respond? Because I'm asking you as a customer here. Did you do? I was like, well, I don't know, ma'am. I'm just trying to help you. I was like, you're not helping me. This is not helping. It's inappropriate. It's rude. And I don't appreciate this because I get harassed by you guys every month. You should have the information. And then he was like, well, if you don't like it, go to another pharmacy. I said, you're my closest and I can't move that well. Like, anyways, he gives me my pills. Following month, oh, mind you, and they're always late. They're either running out, they say they're going to order it, and then it takes another week, and they don't call to let you know. I remember I came to pick up my pills, and they're like, oh, no, we had to order it. Sorry, like, we didn't. And I'm like, you guys didn't tell me? Like, it's Friday. Like, I have to, like, you can't do this. Like, you have to, be professional about this. If you don't have the medication, let the customer know. Why haven't I received a phone call? So then, fast forward, finally, to the day that, I had already complained about it. CVS never contacted me. So then the day comes when I finally write that long review. At this stage, oh my God, it took me 5 hours to even write that because I was shaking. I had to speak it mostly, and I couldn't even, and the pain that generated in my spine from that incident was so painful. But they treated me like I was a drug addict. That's what they've been doing. Like, the way they do, it's as if I had proof. I said, so I'm at this driveway, and I'm like, so I go back. My pills were already 5 days overdue. And they said, we had ordered it on Friday. It won't be here we ordered it on Tuesday. It won't be here until Friday. I said, okay, so I'll have my prescription on Friday. They said, yes. I show up on Friday at 7:45 p.m. They close at 8. And it's this person, Jennifer, whom I had issues with prior, and who was also there that day that the other gentleman made that comment to me. She said, I was told that they were like, oh, we don't have it. We don't have the medication. And I'm like, what do you mean you don't have my medication? They said, we're out. We only have 20. I said, how is that possible? You told me the other day that you ordered it. So you gave away my medication? And then they said, well, they were like, well, yeah, I mean, we ordered, but we're out. I guess they have like a quota for the month. So they gave away that. They ordered a certain amount and they gave that, and they only have 20 left, and too bad. And I said, okay, well, I'm already a week and a half past due. I'll take the 20 and forfeit the rest and we'll speak to my doctors during the week. She said, no, I can't do that. I said, what do you mean, no, you can't do that? Yes, you can, because it's been done before, not at this low. And she said, no, I'm just not comfortable giving you the medication. And I said, why? There's no reason for this. And she said, no, well, so-and-so, I can't remember the gentleman's name, but he said, I was here that day and he's not comfortable giving it to you either. I said, no. He said, he had mentioned that he didn't, as long as I had, that's the part I forgot to mention. He said, as long as, he goes, well, if you have documentation stating you need this, then, because that's what we need. I said, you have that. You have that information. If not, then get it then. They had 2 months to get that information. Instead, she said to me, I remember he doesn't want to give it to you, so I'm not giving it to you. And I said, so you're leaving me without medication again. And it's the weekend. Yeah. I was like, oh my God, you can't do this to me. You can't refuse me my my medication that's legally given. I said, if you need to see the paperwork, I actually have it right here. She said, no. I said, I have the proof of my paperwork, of my document. And she said, no. Again, I'm not comfortable giving it to you. Please leave my drive-through. So you guys don't do your job, and now I have to suffer for it. And now you're just telling me you're trying to kick me. And at this stage, I was shaking. I couldn't, like, I was fritzing out. I fritzed out. And then I couldn't even, like, move. And then the people behind me were honking, but I was like, I'm not comfortable right now getting, like, I just fritzed out. So then I moved up a little, so at least the back person get through the thing. But when I mean, they all looked at me like I was like, so then I saw, as I'm in the rear, I'm not all the way out the drive-through yet because I'm not comfortable driving, because they stressed me out to the point where I was having a parasympathetic system shut down. I was shutting down because of the stress of what they did. It was much worse off than I'm explaining it to you. There's bits and pieces because it was a little longer than that. Because I did not want to, I was like, I just couldn't believe what was happening. And then the coldness behind it. It was like they had no care in the world. And because they could have easily did the job by contacting my doctors, they didn't. Then I said, I have proof right here. She refused to take my proof and said, I don't want to see it. I do not feel comfortable giving it. We've given it to you. Basically, they're like, we've given you enough of these. You need to figure it out. If you don't like it, go to another pharmacy. I said, I can't do, like, you're closest, and it's dangerous for me to be going to another pharmacy when I'm in pain. This is what I'm comfortable with. You're here. No. So then I saw them leaving, and I was like, I'm having a nervous breakdown right now. I can't leave your drive-through. They didn't come out. No one came to look at me. I saw some leaving. I saw it because it was time, almost go time. I saw them going into their car, leaving, and they left me there. They didn't give a shit. Sorry. But they didn't care at all about the fact that they lied to me. They didn't do their job. They gave away my medication and then refused to give me what was left and left me without medication for almost 2 weeks. And mind you, I was okay about the fact that they didn't have it. I waited the week. I said, fine, I will suffer. I actually had a little bit left over because I self-regulate. If I don't move a lot, I won't pop them because I don't want to, I've been working with myself for years, so I know what to do here. I know how to not ruin my liver. I've been doing the work to not become the drug addict that people have placed the stigma. Yes, granted, some people, chemically speaking, they can't, it affects them differently. But these are the ones that work for me. And I have severe structural and neurological trauma to my system. And I have documented proof. And the coldness that they showed me, bro, I came back, I've never been treated like that from any pharmacy, ever. And then to have proof, and then for me to tell them I'm struggling because of what they did, and they didn't care. I could have driven out of there, crashed. It's bad enough being disabled and losing everything in your life, and then to have the people that you count on to help you with just day-to-day medication to help you on a day-to-day, and for them to treat you like that, and especially when it was unnecessary, when they had the choice to do the job that they were supposed to do. It was as if they did it because they were angry I talked back. That's what it felt like. Like, how dare I talk back to them? How dare I be feel insulted where I thought they overstepped their boundary, and then speak about it when there's customers there, and then embarrass me in front of all the other pharmacists. Like, it was humiliating. Humiliating. How do you do that to someone who survives off of these? And then say, I have some left, and say, no, like in the snarkiest, nastiest way, to not help me because of a job that they refused to do. So they lied to me, refused and rejected me. And I've been patient with them over the course of a few months. And I thought they would do the job that I went to Walgreens. I had zero problems. They have documents they have it in the system. They were like, oh, they still have my New York address. And they were like, okay, we got your pills. Da da da. That was it. They see that I had proof. Why wouldn't CVS do it? What they did to me was so cruel. I mean, cruel. I've never been treated like that. And I've been in some nasty situations, but to be treated with such indignity, if that's the correct word, but like I was a trash dog, like, scoot, stray, scoot. All you want are, like, how do you say you have my medication and say I don't have it? Like, I would have taken that prescription elsewhere. Instead, they screwed me and then had me without medication. And then it was like I was being punished. It was the crazy. I gotta calm down. And I've always loved CVS. Like, that's like always, but not that particular CVS pharmacy, not with those pharmacists. I could never. And there's not another CVS around me. Walgreens was a lot easier, and they took care of me without a problem. And if there was a problem, they've contacted the doctors. They did their job. And didn't punish me for it. Because there were a couple of other people that I know, this other older woman, who she says that she always has problems with them as well. And the fact that it was such a cruel, the way I was treated, I don't think anyone should be treated that way. No one. And I know there are people who are in worse situations than I. And I'm in a really bad situation. And I just feel as being, to be human, like, where's their humanity? Where was their more, like, morale? Like, don't treat people like you don't know what they're going through. And if you do know what they're going through and you still decide not to care, like, you shouldn't be working with people, especially people who survive and need medication to live. And you're going to treat them as if they are lying about it, not do the job, like, just do the job, go through the proper channels so you or the customer won't suffer. They made me suffer for nothing. Over, I don't know what, ego. They made a mistake and they didn't want to own up to it. So they made me suffer for it. But they made it seem like I was lying. And I'm tired. I'm tired of people treating disabled, weakened people like garbage. Because they feel like we can't and won't fight back. This is the first time I'm actually fighting back against anything. And it wasn't right what they did. And it just really wasn't right. It was painful in more ways than they can imagine. It was first emotionally, psychologically, because I have PTSD, certain amounts of PTSD, and to be treated like that triggered my PTSD and triggered the pain in my body. So not only did I have no medication, like I had pain, but I had no medication, because I like that kind of medication is like popping an Advil for me. I can't just go and take any medication and it'll work. So they don't make people suffer for your own mistakes and then turn around and blame them and then not care what's happening to them. Like, I'm on their property and I'm saying I'm not well, don't treat me like this. And then they're like, scoot. It's not right. It's not right to treat people when they are in need, you know? And I just I was very detailed. I don't know, that night I was so upset, and I very detailed about it, because I just was like, this is the truth. This is what it is. And no one should experience this. And if this pharmacy is going to treat a person who has all of this going on like this, people who have issues like me or worse, or even a little less, shouldn't go there for medication that's very important. You know, I understand there's this whole thing going on with like people suing and this whole you know, the thing going on with pain pills and people selling them and all that stuff. But that's not me. That's not what I do. And my doctors, I have proof. If there's proof, you find the proof, you look at it, and then you do the business, you do the work that you're supposed to do. You don't make that person feel bad for having the disability and being in need, you know, like, and it wasn't, part of me wants to see a lawyer because of the trauma they put me through and the pain that I had to experience. And it set my rehabilitation back about a month of work that I had. It set me back because that kind of stuff, stress and all, I'm not supposed to. And the pain, with the added pain decreases the brain size. It decreases brain size. It decreases neurological functioning, because everything is going to try to take away that pain that's in your body that it can't take away. My pain receptors are broken.